Launch up to YouTube. Pop out the chat there. Copy. Making copies. All right, and then launch up to Twitter. All right, there we go. So I'm up on all the other platforms now. So the part we left off on. The native color picker in browsers doesn't support alpha channels, which means things are a little trickier. We could use a different color picker, but none of them are actually like embedded within a popover, so I'd have to do the popover stuff myself and wire up the button myself, and I don't think I like it. So instead, we're still going to do the input that way, and then we're just going to do another drop-down menu item for the alpha. And I'm glad I gave myself like a day or so to think about that. At some point, we could use a better color picker rather than the native one. For right now, I think... Yeah, I think just a separate value there makes sense. All right, so this is the tool so far. We've got this settings widget. We're going to fix that here in a second. We're going to make another drop-down item. All right, so then BG color. This slider is then going to be BG opacity. Ooh, is there not a value for step? We're going to have to go look at their slider. Oh, and it's... Hold on. Wrong place. Totally wrong place. So yeah, BG color is fine there. It's actually down in shadow, right? So showing the shadow, shadow color, and then opacity. All right, so we got that. All right, let's see how that looks. All right, so yeah, we need to go to here, and then I think step is a value now. Yep, nailed it. Yes, Super Maven is really nice with the auto completion these days. Perfect. All right, and then I need to add that opacity to the actual shadow. Okay, so hold on. The Mozilla color input. Let's close some of these that we don't need. Four wheel, what do you mean? Where did you see internal server error? Have I used Astro? Yeah. I use Astro for all my marketing sites at this point. I've even made extensions for Astro. How about this, Hank? You know the port 4321 for Astro? That was my idea. Oh, hold on. Yeah, you're right. That's the Algora ads. Nope. Good call. That was on mine. I didn't see it. So yeah, Algora's ads are broken. Interesting. Ah, yeah. So it was just some bad state. Seems fixed now. Yeah, it really was. Let's see. Astro4321 GitHub discussion. You're welcome. This is my legacy to the world. I'm really proud of it. Yeah, it came to me because they used to use 3000 and other tools did too. And I'm pretty sure Next.js uses 3000. So when I was launching an Astro site, I was seeing the Next.js logo due to browser caching. So I was like, you know what? What would be a good port number they could use instead? 4321 liftoff. Bam. And yeah, the rest is history. Yeah, a lot of things use 3000. I think Express, their docs default to 3000 as well. Yeah, most of them probably use 3000 because Rails used 3000. Right? Veets is nice because it's site, right? 5173 is basically the word site in Leet speak. So yeah, I think that was pretty smart of Veet. Again, for branding, nailed it. Wow, really, Luna? Oh, that sweet summer child. Oh, really, Bedro? So for Veet, once you've done a build and then you're like running that, it's 3000? Interesting. My guess is that's because they are defaulting to some tool like Serve. Yeah, so Serve, right? Serve space dot or whatever, right? I bet Veet is defaulting to Serve or something like that. And if it's in use, then they'll just randomize. So that's maybe less of a Veet thing and more just like the tool that they're using instead. And yeah, Solid right now is using 3000 as well. Ooh, Solid could do something like it doesn't look great. Yeah. So yeah, Leet speaking Solid as a port number doesn't work nearly as well. Yeah, that's a shame. Poor Solid. All right, so back to it. What we need to do is uh, convert number to hex. So basically, we need to multiply our. Yeah, so let me double check this. If we're going to do 0 dot. And hold on. So 153. So that should become 99. Hmm. Oh, cool. So that's actually a little easier. So this is going to be shadow opacity. And we got to pass the 16. Yeah. All right. So then we do this shadow. Sure. Think it works. Ooh, why doesn't that update? Interesting. Okay, so we have a state issue that I need to figure out. Hmm. Oh, and that would be that. No, no. BG color there works. Shadow color there works. I'm wondering if our slider is not updating what we expected. Am I using on change for all the other sliders? I am. Okay, so we see the box shadow value here is RGBA 255.000.6. And that's still not right. Interesting. I don't know, Shrunken Head. That sounds like something to Google. For the most part, you should probably be looking at a Mac if you're going to be a developer. Only thing that would change there is if you're trying to do game dev. I think game dev might still be better on a PC. So Bedro, no. Like, this is for someone who would ask a question like that. Anyone who knows better knows better. Anyone who doesn't know better, they should probably just use a Mac. I'm not 100% certain. Oh, now it does seem to be updating as we change it with the color, which is nice. Oh, interesting. So it seems like we were just in some kind of delayed state. because now it looks fine. Oh. So it seems like it could be delayed. What do you mean, Hank? You mean for this tool? I think that's outside of scope. I would need actual users of this tool to say that's something they need. Like, there's all sorts of stuff we could do that aren't MVP. We got to focus on the MVP. Like, in my opinion, that's up to the user. If they're making the tweet, they can add the link. How would we make a link with what we're doing? We're just generating a GIF. It's up to the user to use that GIF however they want. Take the link as an input, that's way outside of scope. Not a bad idea, but way outside of scope for the MVP. If you're not aware, we're doing this for a hackathon. Right, so just like generating an MP4 would be really nice. It's outside of scope for the hackathon. So the key is we get it launched with the MVP features that we need. No, and it's not bad. I like it. I will have the repo as open source. If it's something you want to try and build out, we could look at that. I think it's less useful when you point to a file, though, because the size of the file is going to get crazy, right? Like the size of the GIF that we're generating. You're already seeing that as we change the length, things are a bit wonky, right? Like the GIF that we generate, which, keep in mind, this is not the final product GIF that we're going to have, but this is at least proving out the idea of what the GIF will look like. You're going to end up with a bunch of empty space because the GIF is changing size. So you're probably going to want to avoid doing that. Ooh, and it looks like we got some bug right there. I'm not even sure what caused that bug. So yeah, pointing to like a real file is probably less ideal. So Shiki Magic Move is doing CSS animations for all of this. To single step a bigger file? I don't know what you mean by that. Like, you'd have to then say what lines you want to change, or you want to see the change on. Like, it gets, like, again, the moment you start thinking about that, it gets way more complicated. And thinking about the right way to do that is way more complicated. So we got to really, like, kind of focus on the baseline. But yeah, the way we're doing this is Shiki generates a state between these two things. Let me explain. The state between these two things is the start and the finish, and some of these elements, right? Like each chunk of text is basically its own DOM element. That DOM element has the X and Y values that it is animating to and from. We take those values from Shiki, and then we actually do our own interpolation and like placing those values within a canvas frame by frame. Because you can't capture a DOM element like this in a way that is clean and easy. So instead, we have to basically take the values that are being animated to and from, and we have to like recreate what Shiki is doing, what technically CSS is doing to animate those states. So we're emulating the CSS animation, basically. More like simulating. It's not emulating. Oh, and the time at which we click this might actually be causing us bugs. Yeah, we didn't have that issue the other day. I'm curious what I did that broke it. Hmm. So it's the time at which we click it that is getting us. Ooh. Yep. All right, so that hints that we're probably going to want to have the visual that you see animating, and then the thing that we actually animate under the hood would be a hidden version of that same element that gives us those values. Hmm. Yeah, so we're going to have to do the hidden element thing anyway, which means that then we can make this animation be something you click to do or something that loops. Yeah, okay. I think we can wait on doing the invisible element first. But we are generating the GIF at least. We probably need to start figuring out some of these values that we're configuring here. Those need to actually make it into the thing that we're like drawing. So the padding that we have on the outside there. Right. We got to figure out how to do the line numbers. Line numbers is actually easy. Seems to me like they're not animating them. They're just like fading them in and out from the two different states. We'll do it without the line numbers for now, right? Line numbers are something we can probably do later because that's going to have to change how we end up modifying Shiki Magic Move to give us those values. But bare minimum, we need to get the padding. We need to get the colors in there, right? The width of it. I think width of it, we're good. Yeah, so we're getting cut off like we expected. So then user could expand out. We can copy again. Ooh. Really? Our width value didn't make it in. I thought the width value was going to be automatic. Oh, there it is. Yeah, maybe just like a state bug. It'd be nice if we could get... Yeah, it'd be nice if we could get, like, word wrap working right. I wonder if Shiki does a word wrap thing. Hmm. So let me try that, and let's see if we can get word wrap working. Aha, so text wrap. Oh, and hold on, it keeps animating. Let me turn that off real quick. This might be my favorite song on the album. Wait, that... That should not have been animating still. That's one of the things that I find most quirky about Solid Start. Like, the hot module reloading feels broken. Okay. So I think I can just put that. I think I can put that directly on the magic move element. So the issue is that we would want it to not have the line number there. Maybe for the sake of the MVP, we just ditch line numbers. But then we still wouldn't get like the indentation to make it look nice. Let me look at how Carbon's doing this again. So they don't indent the wrapping either. Okay. So at least there's like prior art. Okay. Okay, so then my next thought is how does that animate? Well, let's try and get it into a GIF and see if the GIF still just animates and works. And then it's up to the user to like drag and drop it. Yeah, so then the only issue is the line numbers. So I'm going to turn off line numbers for now. I do believe they have line numbers in Carbon, though, right? They do. Ooh, the hidden characters thing is nice. That might be post MVP as well. So I think line numbers may be outside of scope for the moment, too. Yeah, I'd rather do font size and line height first before I even worry about line numbers, and definitely before I worry about hidden characters. And I think I want to get like the user management aspect of it before I worry about line numbers as well. So we're going to treat line numbers and the hidden characters as nice to haves. I think we'll even treat these buttons or these fake buttons as nice to have as well. Oh, interesting. Oh, yeah. Never mind. I was like, interesting that the padding's not equal. No, it's because of how I have the shadow configured. Oops. Yeah, so no, that's fine. All right. And the reason I want to do the user management stuff for like people to be able to save a snippet for later is because part of the hackathon requires us to do to use like solid start features. And right now we're doing everything client side. Adding a login and persistence state would then be like, yeah, we're using solid start's features at that point. Yeah. All right. So here's our Shiki magic move. Do line numbers false for now. And that looks pretty good. We just need to account for some top padding. Yeah. All right. I do want to kind of like commit and save what we got so that the diffs are a little easier to manage. All right, so add baseline configuration options. Sure. It's kind of a slow, sad song. Let's get just a whole other album going. Let's get a happier album going. I will say, I think we can have a beverage. Yeah. You know, again, we don't want to overdo it. We don't want to underdo it either. For the Baldur's Gate session yesterday, kept myself to the limit of 2, which is nice. Ooh, that one sounded good, didn't it? Oh, and for people that weren't around on gaming stream on Tuesday, the tacos were amazing. I'll probably do the tacos again tonight as well. You know, because I got the onions, might as well use them. The homegrown cilantro was the thing I really wanted to test with it, and the homegrown cilantro is nailing it. Haven't had a chance to do anything with homegrown green onion yet because they're not quite thick enough. I'm a little surprised that the green onion takes longer because the green onion like showed like sprouts and like progress way faster. But like the cilantro plant is actually producing like useful vegetation faster. Like the cilantro goes from like, it's just a little guy to like, oh my god, like all of a sudden. Like it's kind of crazy. Whereas I'm still waiting for the green onions to like thicken up. They're still like wilty because they're like top heavy. But okay, so we got the server restarted. We do need to go into... Yeah. Well, I mean, technically green onion is an herb too, right? But it's taking longer to like flourish and be like croppable. And real quick, I missed some follows. I hope you guys are still out there. Halloween Master and Mistis. I don't know how to pronounce your name. If you're still out there, let me know. Thank you guys for those follows, though. Hold on. Let me reply to a thing. All right, so here's our function. No, that's blob to data URL. Here's animation frame. Yeah, so create animation frame is going to need to start taking in these values. All right, so then layout. Yeah, I'm going to refactor all this. So layout. Let me create an interface. We may end up moving a bunch of this stuff out to another file, because this file is getting a bit crowded. But for the moment, we can just do this part. So interface, animation, frame, layout. Animation frame, shadow. Animation frame styling. So yeah, I'm going to say font size, font family, background color. Shadow enabled, shadow offset Y, shadow blur, shadow color, shadow opacity. Ooh, yeah, Super Maven nailing it. Frame layout. Y padding, X padding. So elements, yeah, and then this stuff goes away. So then we're going to have layout, shadow, styling. And then I think I even want to do... Nah, the rest... We'll call it animation frame config. Yeah, so interface, animation frame. We'll let that go. This is big. Cool. Yeah, Super Maven. Man, I've been fairly anti AI tools because Copilot wasn't giving me auto completion nearly that good, and it was slower. Super Maven has been filling in that blank quite a bit for me. So width and height here is the size of the snippet element. Yeah, no worries, Luna. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. Good. How about you, Krasner? Signed your first tire today? Nice. Yeah, this is a good song. And yeah, how's it going, Charlie's? Charles, not Charlie's. Sorry. I think I tried to combine your name and not even in the right way. But yeah, how you doing? Wow, dude. You haven't chatted in 5 years. That's crazy. Your first message was in 2019. Adobe Project Turntables. No, I don't even know what it is. Yeah, so Bedro, I've been streaming since, I want to say June of 2018. Yeah, exactly. Right? November 2019. We were so young, so naive back then. Right? We didn't realize what was going to happen. Yeah, I remember going snowboarding like the week before lockdown. That must have been, I think that was in February, right? Of like 2020. Had an epic powder day at Stevens Pass. Pretty sure I even have a photo on my phone from then. Like I took a picture in the parking lot, I think. Yep, there it is. Oh wait, hold on. That might not have even been that day. Oh no, yeah, this was that day. It was actually like a sunny pow day. All right, so we got these values. Background color there. We also need snippet background color. So this fill style is going to be snippet background color. Ooh. Yep. Okay. So here's something we'll do. We'll create a constant. This is going to be snippet padding. I really want to make it 42, but it should probably be 16. Now, I think we're going to have a bug with our actual width values. But that should be fine for now. So yeah, we fill the rectangle with that. Oh, and this is actually wrong. This stays background color. Fill style is then snippet background color. And instead of fill rect, round rect. Say 10 for now. Let me actually inspect that. But yeah, Krasner, what did you sign them to do? Hello? Let's try that again. There we go. So rounded is giving us a border radius of 0.25 rem. I think that means 4. All right, so we do a rounded rect, but first ctx dot, and hold on, that dot shadow. Nope, that's not right. All right, and then we set the CTX shadow color to transparent. This is then X padding is then okay. Instead of X padding, this is okay. So I think that's close, but the values that we are passing into that function are now wrong. So where's this function actually used? Yes, that's it. Okay, let's see if that actually worked. Let's do a full refresh. Interesting. Okay, so I forgot something about the background color. Okay. Let me get more music going. Does synthwave belong in a museum, Junior? Ah. Okay, so hold on. Okay, so hold on. We don't actually end up needing snippet width. So this width and height value. I don't know if we actually need to do that part. So width and height there is fine. Okay, so round rect adds it to the current path. So we want to do begin path. Okay, so if we do that, let's do a full refresh. And this will actually help us out. Okay, so yeah, our shadow offset needs some work. Oh, and our positioning is off. Oh, we are close, though. Oh, buddy. Ooh, buddy. Ooh, buddy. Oh, wow. Yeah, all right. That worked out more than I expected. Okay. Oh, man. Ah, this is nice. Oh, this is nice. Oh, my God. I'd be lying if I said I thought it was going to work first try like that. And not like fully first try, because we got some bugs still, but. I mean, come on. That's pretty good. Oh, that's pretty good. All right, so what we can see is we have some extra padding here on the side for some reason. And the shadow, we need to actually add the offset for it. But okay, let me go use the restroom and I will be right back. Oh, this is turning out good. Oh, this is turning out good. The perfect sound effect for that, too. You've never used Astro, but it reminds you of their view transitions? I mean, so view transitions are a browser feature. It's not even an Astro thing. Astro just does a good job of implementing it. View transitions are a browser API, though. So anything can do view transitions. All right, we'll do another one of these. Yeah. Yeah, I like to have a whiskey or two a day. This is number 2. Trying to make sure I keep that at a decent cap. There have been days where I overdo it. Trying to keep that to like once a week as far as the overdoing it goes. All right, and we also see that this value is a bit much too. I do. I live in Washington State. It's legal. And hey, lithium. Nailed it. Good timing. Yeah, I think you would like the name of that tool. I'm bummed. We didn't actually meet up at TwitchCon, did we? I think I heard you were there. I was even at the party and everything. And if we did meet up and I forgot, well, there may have been whiskey involved. Oh, you left the party early. Okay. Yeah, I had quite a bit of whiskey at that party. It was a good one. Yeah, no worries, man. Like, yeah, I'd love to hang out and meet you. I've never met you. I don't even know what you look like. It was a fun party. Yeah, it was really good. So this genre of music is called synthwave. And it probably borders on like retro wave as well. They've got like, so basically if you grab the link to the album, Bandcamp does a really good job of shouting out what the artist considers their category to be. So if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see the tags. There's chillwave, cyberpunk, dreamwave, 80s, outrun, synthwave. I'd say synthwave and chillwave and outrun are probably like the best descriptions of it. But yeah, TwitchCon was super fun. Yeah. Are you going to be there next year? Eurobit. Sure. It works. Trying to go to more of the tech meetups? Yeah, for sure. You don't need to say where you are, but they're like here in Seattle at least, there's like a monthly Seattle JS. Even if you don't do JavaScript, on a regular basis, it's still like the best community to go hang out with other developers. Because like since COVID, a lot of the meetup scene kind of died. Okay, you're in California. Yeah, if you're by any like major city, there should be at least like a JavaScript meetup. Again, you don't have to write JavaScript to go to it. It's just to be around people that are like-minded. Are you in the San Fran area? Like, would you like to go to you're not in the Bay Area. I was gonna say like GitHub Universe is in a couple weeks, and I have an extra ticket I can give out to someone. Because, yeah, I'm speaking at GitHub Universe. You need a break from traveling. Can't walk yet? Oh, that's a bummer. Why is that? Did you break a leg or something? And you don't have to say. Sorry. Like knee issue or something? Again, you don't have to disclose. That's up to you. You broke your ankle. Ooh, had to have surgery to fix it. Slow recovery. It's moving along. Nice. Well, glad it's getting better. Yeah, ankles are the worst. If I roll my ankle skateboarding, there is like a 50-50 chance I'll just throw my skateboard out into traffic or into a lake or something. I really, really, really dislike ankle injuries. Which is why I'm a snowboarder, because you basically can't hurt your ankle snowboarding. See, I'm sorry. That's a bummer, man. Yeah, do I know anyone here from the Bay Area? I think Time Enjoyed's down in that area. I don't know if she has a ticket. I have a free ticket to give out, so I might as well give it to someone, because I think tickets are kind of expensive. Risk of getting buried in an avalanche greater than ankle injury? Not if you're smart. Yeah, not quite the right bay. Not the same bay. Yeah, avalanches, yes, they're dangerous. People have died at Stevens Pass. People I know even from avalanches. It sucks. But if you're riding in the right areas on the right days, it's a little bit safer. Now, here's something I'm curious about. Does that image actually animate? It does. Oh my god. So yeah, right. Sure, macOS doesn't preview the GIF very well. Oh, you'd rather take that than an ankle injury. Ah, I gotcha. Yeah. Like the risk of an avalanche versus the risk of an ankle injury. Yeah, I totally get it. And yeah, welcome from Morocco, or from the US to Morocco. So, BandyX, there is a tool called Carbon. Carbon is a way to share source code to social media. So you would paste your source code in here, and then you could export it to an image that you would paste into something like Twitter, and you could share that source code snippet. Instead, I want to do the same thing, but animate it as a GIF. And then a diff between the start and the end point is animated as a GIF that you can paste to social media. So the idea is you would start out over here in the snippets, you would paste your start and your end, then you would go over here to output, you would click download or copy, and you would get a GIF that you could paste to Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever. Because showing diffs it typically requires a lot of screen real estate if you want to do it with like a side-by-side comparison or something. So instead, this GIF is more socially shareable and more compact. Does that make sense there, Bandyax? Google's diff match patch? No, I'm not familiar with it. Yeah, I'm just using a tool called Shiki Magic Move. It existed way prior to me like coming up with any of this, and it just animates from point to point, right? So yeah, pretty cool. I added the solid renderer, and AntFoo merged it in like the day I proposed the PR. So yeah, really cool. If you ever have something you want to modify of AntFoo's, if he's into it, it'll be merged in really quick. I think we've all had the experience of having a PR for some open source public project just linger, and it gets really annoying. You're not going to have that problem with AntFoo's stuff. He is really on top of it. And I don't know how they represent. They are really on top of it. But yeah, so there is a solid hackathon going on. And I figured this diff tool would be fun for the solid hackathon. I've wanted to make this diff tool in any framework or language for a long time, and the solid hackathon was what spurred me on to do it. I was going to do it for Time Enjoyed's code gem, but that is suspended indefinitely. So I just wanted to make this, so we're making. Golang's fine. Any language is fine. You shouldn't be a fanboy of any language. You should be a fan of features of a language, because features are portable. So pattern matching as a feature, really nice. I like languages that have it. When it comes to picking a language, you should pick the one that solves the problem you're trying to solve easiest and best. If I want to make a CLI tool, I'll just pick Go. If I want to make a front-end web application, well, obviously it's going to be TypeScript or JavaScript. They are not sports teams. You do not have to align yourself to one forever. They're not sports teams. Use whatever fits the bill. All right, let me close at least a few of these tabs. Not all of them. All right, so the part that we're on right now is we are rendering what you see here into a GIF. The problem is that our padding value is actually accurate on the left and on the top. It is not accurate on the right and on the bottom. So I'm not quite sure why that is. Let's go look at what we're doing here. I wonder if snippet padding actually matters. But also, I want to animate these values in place. GJ, no, this is for social sharing. Have you ever tried to share a diff to social media? If not, it's a little hard to understand. If you have, it's immediately obvious why it's useful. Okay, so I got one thing I want to do before I even go any further with evaluating that logic. I would like to persist some of this other stuff. Griffing? Ooh, there you go. What's it gonna do? I mean, I could easily rename this tool to the griff diff. Have you created a griff diff for your tool yet? Next, you need funding, and then you'll figure out what it does. The true VC way. Take notes, everyone. Not a bad plan, honestly. Let me get more music going. What's going to be in your pitch deck? Right? How are you going to secure that funding? That's the important part. I mean, I could be an investor, you know? CM griffing as a service. How about that? Oh, a C. Nailed it. Yeah, CMG as a service. Honestly, I'm trying to do that already by trying to get companies to let me make some content for them. I thought I had one on the line earlier today, but turns out their budget isn't enough and my reach isn't high enough, which I think they are completely misunderstanding the reach. You don't need to get 50,000 people seeing your stuff if the right 8,000 see it. That is the key. Right? You don't need 1 million views on a video if the right 8,000 people see it. So yeah, I think there are people who are not content creators in this space that don't understand you don't necessarily need Mr. Beast style numbers to deliver value. Yeah, no. Like, they literally mean, like, viewership numbers, right? I tried to pitch them on the idea of, like, YouTube content as well as me just streaming it for a month. And I don't know if they meant it to be offensive, but it was. They said, basically, yeah, if the reach was enough, implying that my reach wasn't. I just don't think they understand. I just don't think they get it. But I don't care enough to convince them. When they are convinced, it's going to cost them more money. They're pricing themselves out of the content creation at this point. That's their problem. And yeah, they also said that their budget is not very high. Well, yeah. Why would I want to work on their stuff when I could just work on my own at that point, you know? Like, I have a job. So I'm not desperate for sponsored content. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure, bedtime bear. So yeah, I'll see what kind of numbers they were thinking. I don't know what they consider big and small budget. Maybe small budget to them is actually like totally fine budget to me. So we'll see in a call, but it's business at that point, you know? Yeah, they want a Mr. Beast reach on a beer budget. Exactly, Deja Vu. Yeah. Right? Beggars can't be choosers. So yeah, honestly, the project to build with them sounds fun. They could take the idea and have someone else build it if they want. But as far as I'm concerned, their lack of confidence is already making me not want to do it, which is, you know, it's a thing. All right, so we should. Oh, hold on. Is this. Okay, that is animating how we want. Cool. So I want to make sure this is actually persisting in a way that we want. So now let's refresh. All right, cool. That color is persisted. We'll call that good. So the next step. Yeah, that we don't actually care about. I don't think we care about that either. All right, so now in this function, so I am not currently using the shadow offset Y value. And let's go look at that. And what's up, Jose? How you doing? So now here's our next step. Click that. That'll generate our GIF. We still haven't solved like the padding issue yet. Oh, we did solve the padding issue, and we got the shadow issue solved. Oh, and we got the snippet Y padding issue solved. Oh my god. Like a glove. Oh my god. I think we're like done, dude. Let's change the theme. What's the Chewbacca doing on Endor? I wasn't expecting to get this done, like that part done so quick. Yeah, it's a little pixelated. That's only because I am currently zoomed in at 175%. This is actually what you would share as a GIF. All right. Oh my god. Oh my god. I know. What do we do now, right? Try to take over the world. Yeah, Nori's bedtime, Bear. Wait, you're going into the office? At 5 p.m.? Does not compute. Like, does not compute. I'm sorry. Nope. My brain hurts. No. 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 Oh, he wants to work now so he can watch IT Crowd with us later. Yeah. Oh, that makes way more sense. Yeah, I get that, Bedtime Bear. Good call. I get it. I get it. Oh, speaking of, yeah, we should probably plan out the carbonara thing. I won't be able to do it until at least December, though. Because, yeah, I'm traveling most of November. I'm going to be at home like 10 days out of all of November. It's going to be rough. Yeah. I have to travel to GitHub Universe later this month. Then I travel for a week to the office in Arizona. Then I travel for like, I don't know, I forget how many days to the Cloud Native Con or the CNCF conference in Utah. And then I travel to New York for JS Nation, and then I traveled to Austin for like a company like workshop kind of thing. And then finally I'm back home. And I might try and take some time off work just to relax. You know, like holy shit. You'll be in New York next year? Yeah, I mean, I really like JS Nation and React Summit. So I propose to both of those like multiple talks every year just because I want an excuse to go back to New York. Yeah, for sure, four wheel. I ended up getting like a hotel based like credit card too, just so I can get some of those like what is it, Marriott points? Yeah. I don't have an airline card yet. I'm considering the Alaska one because I prefer to fly Alaska for basically everything. Little Seattle pro tip. Alaska Airlines has the absolute shortest security checkpoint. Right? So if you're willing to do some extra walking, yourself over to the Alaska security checkpoint, go through that, and then walk back to wherever your gate is. The Alaska checkpoint is the shortest of all of them. Not necessarily airline based, but it's like by certain parts of the airport. Like technically the terminals are airline based. So Alaska has like the N terminals, which are like a little island, and you have to like take a little like vehicle to it. Like you have to take the tram or whatever to get to like the Alaska terminal. And the security checkpoint over by the Alaska like desks or whatever is right next to the N like terminal like train or whatever. It's really good. It's like such a life pro tip. I've gone through the others before and it was a mistake. Like you'll be waiting easily 20 extra minutes, and if you're always behind like I am, that's the difference between making your flight and not making your flight. I also get Clear Plus. So I even skip a bit of the line there, but at the Alaska checkpoint, the Clear Plus doesn't matter as much. But okay, where do I go to find out about conferences, etc.? Even with Clear, going through the main checkpoint sucks. Like you'll easily spend still like 20 minutes extra. $10 to $15 most through security. That's not bad. Yeah. When I've flown some other airlines before, I've spent like 45 minutes in the checkpoint. So paper call is one good place to do it. There's also just the idea that if there is a specific conference you want to speak at, you just keep it on your list. So for me, yeah, I want to do render ATL. I don't know if they even have their like CFP posted yet. I thought they did. Apply to speak, yeah. So Sessionize is another site as well. So Sessionize and paper call. But yeah, I plan on applying to this one. Call opens today, and I got till the 16th, so I got plenty of time for that one. React Miami, though, that one I need to do the application by, like, the beginning of December. In just attending and networking? Yeah, I would say, even then, Sessionize and Paper Call are still worthwhile to, like, find conferences. But yeah, the CFP for React Miami is also one. So I got till December 13th and December 16th. So yeah, beginning of December, we will do... Yeah, probably like a day or two of just applying to these two conferences, because I really want to speak at these two. Mainly because I don't, like, bare minimum, if I'm going to have to pay for my own flight or hotel room, I don't want to pay for a ticket as well. So if I don't get a free ticket to one of these things, I'm probably not going. There is maybe the idea of, well, maybe I just fly out and get a hotel and don't even worry about going to the conference because I can just go to the after parties. I'm less keen on that one because some of the after parties actually like check for a ticket. Here in Seattle, I can do that one just because it's like right nearby. All right, I'm going to do a third whiskey. This will be the last one of the day, though. I've been really good. I can have a third. And what do I mean by really good? I haven't overdone it since Saturday. Right? And then beyond that, well, yeah, I overdid it on Wednesday because I went out to Seattle JS and I got to drink with a hero of mine. So yeah, I drank. Yeah, last Wednesday, I had drinks with Gary Bernhardt. And, like, you know, other people from Seattle JS. I hope I haven't weirded him out yet, but I am a huge fan of his. I assume he understands that. But I don't think I've, like, overdone it in my fandom. Oh, no, he's great. He's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I've never had that go bad. Even in the snowboard world, like, the people I looked up to were actually awesome the whole time. I've definitely met some shitty pro snowboarders, like people who just suck, but I wasn't a big fan of them anyway, so we're good. Like, yeah, it's totally fine. Right? Like Jeremy Jones, like the big mountain rider guy, like the Rosignol Jeremy Jones, that dude sucks. He's such a dickhead. He thinks he is God's gift to snowboarding, and he actively disdains people who ride park. That guy sucks. Yeah, yeah, we've got like the styling and the like, dude, Krasner. We didn't have this part, right? Like the variable values for all of that. We didn't have that when you said hi earlier. We just had that going. We just got it. Like, you know, some of those times where you're just hacking on some code and you don't even look at the result until you've done way too much and it just works? That's basically what we just did. Which is why I'm gifting myself a third whiskey. There you go, X Factor. After getting one kill. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pumped on it. So let's double check. What are some other settings we should look at configuring? I'd say let's double check we can render without a shadow. Yeah, we had a thing where like I added extra padding by mistake. And I was like, well, we'll just see what happens without a couple of these like extra padding values. And it just worked. And yeah, shadow turned off just fine. No big deal. Like a glove. Like a good neighbor, lithium is there. All right, so I'm pretty sure lithium, right? Lithium 4900 or whatever, might still be out there in chat. May have moved on. That's fine. But I'm pretty sure they would like that to be the tagline or motto as well. All right, so hold on. Let me show you the bug. If I click this as it's about to animate, I believe that's where we get a bug. Oh no, that one's good. Well, hold on. Let's try and do it while it's in the middle. Okay, so now I can't reproduce the bug earlier. Oh, because for debugging purposes, all I'm doing is like a document.append element of the image with the resulting GIF. Right? The final result won't actually append the GIF to the page. I'm just doing that for debugging purposes so I don't have to like check the download or something. Final version won't even put it on the page. Final version would just be a copy to clipboard or, you know, like a download to your downloads folder. Okay, so what do we think we want to fine tune next? I think right now we should actually start focusing on the deploy process. Hold on, hold on. Yeah, we get rid of the drag stuff. We're just doing mouse down stuff for now. I'm sure we'll have bugs related to that, but it's not our problem at the moment. Yeah, so all of this logic in here, we probably want to extract into a function, right? Like the copy versus download part. The only difference between those is the resulting, like, image that we get out of it, right? The data URI. So yeah, create object URL is the way that we could maybe make the download happen. Yeah, okay, so that part's fine. What I want to do then is we want to go back up to the top here. The initial value for this is snippets. We don't care about that. We don't care about those. All right, let's clean up any of this stuff that we're not using. Resizable, we're not using either. I am going to want to use the worker at some point. But I think, yeah, solid router, that part goes away. Create effect and create memo, those go away. Yeah, we'll call all of that good. I want to actually concentrate on getting this deployed up, making sure it actually works on, like, you know, any like ephemeral Netlify URL we give it. Right, so use config values in rendering of GIF. Oop. All right, so we head to Netlify, and right, like part of the thing we're doing requires it to be like a proper Netlify build. We see Netlify here, but it's also totally broken. So we see building, it's definitely going to fail, right? Let's double check this first. So it's definitely using PNPM, right? Based upon the log values we're seeing. And hey, what's up, Khalid? Did you miss out on anything? Oh my God, you missed so much. We are really, really close to having a solid like MVP without the login persistence type stuff going. We're gonna have to figure out what database we want to like store user persistent stuff on. I feel like the Supabase free tier is really good. Any plans to do anything with Dino too? Nah. A failure? Why'd it fail? Well, let's click the AI button. Why not? Uh... Nah, I'm good. You would recommend Firebase like Arc? Wait, the Arc browser uses Firebase for user stuff? Yet another reason to never use it. I personally hate Firebase. I hate Firebase so much. No, I haven't heard the drama. Sentry did the same thing. Like, dude, right? I click it and you give me a prompt like that. I immediately think, oh God, how much is this going to cost me? And I nope the fuck out. Like, dude, nope. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. It's fine. I'll figure it out. I'm a big boy. Oh, wait. Khalid is saying they know over on YouTube. Khalid, it got hacked. Arc browser got hacked because they were using Firebase. Oh my God. Please tell me it's not as simple as like they weren't locking down permissions properly within the Firebase like Firestore. Oh, Fivel. That's actually it? They didn't lock down permissions properly? Motherfucker, like, dude. That is why you don't use Firebase. Because their permission system is proprietary and you basically do it through the UI. Oh my God, Fivel, really? Dude, the Firebase permission system is fucking garbage. I've been saying this since before I started streaming. Story time. I worked at a really fun, like, client agency or whatever you want to call it, consultancy. I don't know the right term. Studio? I'm not sure. But the basic gist is they had a thing where they wanted you to make sure that you were locking your computer when you get up to use the restroom or whatever, to get you in the habit of locking your screen when you step away, just for security reasons. A coworker of mine, Elisha, super cool dude, made a tool called Tomato, and technically, yes, our company was called Fresh Consulting. I came up with the naming convention of naming internal tools after fruits and vegetable. So I had made a tool called Avocado, Potato, and I think even like one other, right? This person made a tool called Tomato. Their Tomato tool was basically a Firebase application because we were using Google for our workspace, like our company basically, right? Everything was Google. You could go navigate to this website with, like using Google Auth, etc. You would click a thing and you would authorize yourself as the attacker within the tool. And you would get points for hacking a coworker in like a really like superfluous, like no one actually got damaged kind of way. There were some people that made it their entire like purpose in life to hack people. I was really good about it until I made one mistake one day and someone hacked me, and I decided this aggression will not stand, man. So I went into the source code, and like not even the source code. I didn't even need the source. I just started looking at what was in the browser. I used DevTools. And DevTools allow you to modify the scripts that are loaded in your browser as you go. So I was able to insert log statements in random places and see what values were, like as certain actions were made within the app. And it turned out that there were basically zero permissions set up. And at certain points, when you click a button, you could actually just use the Firestore instance that was available to you to write anything you wanted to the database. I'm not proud of it because I basically killed that entire application. Nobody used it anymore after I decided to make one person have negative 1 million points. Because I could just go into DevTools, do the stuff, and I was done. Yeah, it's just a JavaScript object. And you can modify that JavaScript object. You can call it. You can do anything in the scope in which it was defined. You don't even need it to be global. What did that person do to me? They hacked me. They gave me a -1. How dare they? How dare they? So yeah, they ended up getting -1 million. Damn right. Damn right, the pettiness. It's one of those things. It's like, you know the game where like you do that symbol and like, oh, you get a punch in the arm. Oh, you saw it. Oh, dude, I'm not playing that game. You punch me in the arm, we're going to have a problem. Yeah, you move your hand down there and you do that, I'm going to look. I'm not playing that game. You'll never see me do that. Oh, I got you, and I'll punch you in the arm. No, I'm just going to punch you. I'm like, dude, fuck you. You punch me, I punch you. And I'll probably punch you harder. That's not petty. That is warfare. Okay? A punch gets a punch. I don't play that game. I don't like people playing on my phone. Right? Basically. That's basically what that turned into. When keeping it real goes right. Oh, I just gave them negative a million points there, Khalid. Yeah. So, Surly, basically, we had a game in which if you left your computer up without locking the screen, someone would like hack you, and the hack was like light, it didn't do anything harmful, but you would lose a point in something. And I was not playing the game. I never hacked anybody, and I hadn't been hacked for months. And then finally someone got me, and I went scorched earth. No, so Bedro, here's the thing. Within a function context, you can insert a breakpoint and get access to anything that that function has scope for. DevTools are a superpower. So you don't even need to expose it as a global. If it's even there within a functions context, your DevTools can allow you access by simply pausing at that breakpoint. You can also just modify the script inline in memory. Not exposing globals doesn't protect you from someone who actually knows what they're doing. Now, what you're getting at is maybe you only pass values to functions, sure. But you know what's passing those values to those functions? The outer scope that had access to that object. Doing as much on the server side as possible. Yeah, this was a fully client-side application doing database manipulation to Firestore. Yeah, you just don't do that. Unless you want to spend every waking hour making sure your permissions are set right. And the moment you want to migrate off of Firestore, your permissions are proprietary and stored within that UI, and they're not portable, and you got to rewrite that stuff. All right, so hold on. Surly. One place you worked at had a strict policy of locking machines. One day a contractor left his machine open, so you opened Notepad, increased the font to 128, and wrote a word on it and then locked the machine. Sure. When the contractor came back, who put porn on my computer? Leanne ran very quickly from the other end of the office and was very disappointed by seeing just the word porn. That's solid. That's like a really like safe joke. I like that. That's like a good fun. Hell yeah, Surly. So yeah, Bedro, you're right. But the whole point of Firestore is being able to get reactive values on the client quickly and being able to make changes from the client and see those values reactively quickly on every other machine. That typically just involves client-side logic. To abstract that away is to actually miss the point of Firestore entirely. So yeah, if you're doing that, you just don't need Firestore. You can do all that some other way instead. So see, that makes sense, but how were people programmed to lock their computer before standing up? How was that actually set within their brain? A game like what I just described is how you do that. Firestore is a foot gun in disguise. And if you're not familiar with the term foot gun, it is a gun that is basically designed to shoot your foot. Why would anyone do that? I say the same thing. Why would anyone do that? So here's something that you might not be aware of. Right? Old school style holsters for guns weren't just open at the bottom. They had a thing that would deflect the bullet to prevent you from shooting yourself in the foot. Some people thought they were slick because they would simply not even remove the gun from the holster. They would just turn the holster and shoot. So they would remove the thing from the bottom of the holster. Those people statistically shot themselves in the foot more than others. That is a story my dad taught me. He's not even that good of a programmer. He's a hardware guy. But he grew up in Albuquerque and Texas, and he understood firearm safety and like desert stuff. He understood why you might walk around the desert with a block of salt. Right? Like, so yeah, my dad has all sorts of like survival, like desert knowledge that most people would not recognize. And if you're not aware about the salt reference, if you're not consuming enough salt, you can't retain water. So any water you drink is basically immediately peed out. Not immediately, but very quickly. Acorn, what's up? How you doing? I am already looking forward to playing more Pal World on Saturday. Like, I am so pumped for it. Ooh. This is all true. Yeah, I completely believe that. Yeah, I get it. You're from the Northwest. Duh. Yeah, duh. Maybe not like from. Like, I don't know where you're like originally from, but you're here. So it counts. It's where you found that acorn, at least. But yeah, what were you up to today? Let's do the shout out thing. You're the first raid we've gotten today, actually. Improvements to the workshop system. Ooh, I mean, could you tell us about the workshop system? And also, maybe feel free to paste a link to Funi or, you know, any of that. You're a mod here. You have full link privileges. You know that, right? Yeah, there you go, Tobbs. Tobbs is not a mod, but still does have link privileges, at least. Hold on, let me do this. I'm currently working out how to deploy out my diff tool. Yes, Netlify is extremely expensive. That is purely why most of the logic I'm doing for the thing I'm building is client side, so that Netlify can't bill me for that shit. All right, I'm doing another one of these. Deal with it. All right. This has to be the absolute last one today. Because I actually have video editing to do later. I'm actually celebrating because I got so much more work done today than I was expecting. Like, we are very close. Like, the reason I'm even looking at Netlify is because I'm looking at how we could deploy this out. Now, Saturday is going to be the 1 day a week exception. Technically, last Saturday was too. So, okay, we're having a 2 day a week exception. Still better than 4. Or more. Thank you, Donkey. I appreciate that. Okay, so you're using the... So it's how people upload new puzzles. Oh, right. So it's for games like Jigsaw and Dynamite. Oh, wait, Dynamite has custom content? Correct me if I'm wrong. Dynamite is basically Bomberman, right? Okay, cool. Just double checking. So people could upload custom maps for Bomberman. That's kind of cool. Ooh, I didn't even think about that. That's really cool. Like, you could also even... And feel free to take this and run with it. What about setting up, like, billiards with, like, a certain configuration of, like, where the balls are? And how do you sync all of them in the least amount of moves? So you get people, like, establishing their own, like, tournaments. Yeah. Just as a thought, randomly, like, I'm not going to do anything with it. That idea is yours now. Use it or don't. Doesn't offend me. I wasn't going to do anything with it. If you don't use it, it's up into the ether. It's fine. I don't mind. All right. I think I built this out. Yeah. I mean, the current song, you can get a link basically anytime unless my bot crashed. Yes, the people that do the chess puzzles. Exactly, Illust, right? Like the least amount of moves to get a checkmate or something. Yes. And again, like, yeah, Acorn, you do chess as well, don't you? So, like, yeah, you could totally do that. Yeah, chess puzzles would be really cool too, right? Have a leaderboard of like the least moves to checkmate or something. Yeah, and lean on the community. Like, you could basically do this for any game. You could even do it for Connect 4. Yeah, you can do it with basically anything. I like this. And, like, you could do it in a way that it then becomes just single player. So it's a way where you don't need to necessarily, like, matchmake people or have them play against each other. You could have someone like Solo do some of that. Right? That could just, like, increase people on the site to, like, boost up ad numbers, etc. Things like that. There's always, like, the dark patterns of, like, yeah, come onto the site and play once a day, or like, you know, solve X amount of patterns per day in whatever game you want to get like a boost to like credits or points for your account or something, right? Like you could do like the consistency thing. It's a dark pattern, but like people kind of expect it from games at this point. And it encourages like continued usage just to boost up your like daily average user metrics. Up to you if that's something that you actually want to do. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying it's an option, you know. I play games like Madden and other stuff where they use every dark pattern available. So I'm at least like exposed to them. I don't have to like it to recognize that it's worth it. Yeah, for sure. I think the idea generation aspect of this, like, I'm not going to use it. I just like chatting. And I appreciate the raid, so I'm paying back the raid with this because I rarely end at a point where I can raid you. So, thank you. I appreciate the raid. I'm glad you made some good progress. Let me show you what I'm building right now. So, most of the people from the raid might be somewhat aware of what I'm building. Hold on. Wait, did this thing launch? It should be reloading. Come on, man. You're embarrassing me in front of my friends. There we go. So the tool I'm building is called Lithium. Let me do the preface. Right? You may have seen something like Carbon for social sharing of highlightable code snippets, right? And what if you wanted to just say, yeah, this is TypeScript? Cool, it gets syntax highlighted. You can then like export it or copy it, you know, copy into an image, and then you paste that image over to something like Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever, right? I want to do the same thing, but for diffs. So instead, we got 2 snippets of code here. We click next. This is what that diff might look like. Pretty cool, right? Now, right now, it's not working in the sense that Carbon works already, but if I click copy, it's going to copy all of that. It's going to append it to the DOM because we're still in like ideation stage. And we actually generated a GIF because I clicked it at the wrong moment. The interpolation values are wrong. If I just wait, let's actually drag it out a bit. That way you can see what's going on. And if I wait to do it when it's at the right size, bam, I do that. We're going to get another GIF generated. Any minute now. Bam, here we go. So that would be the GIF that I could share to social media. I could just, you know, copy, save image as, whatever. And I have a GIF that is now socially shareable. The idea is that there are settings we could do, such as changing the shadow color to red and making sure the shadow is actually showing. Ooh, look at that. Nice red shadow. We should probably also change the background color. Let's make it like a gray. And let's change the theme, you know, to frappe. Sure, why not? So then, bam. I make sure I copy at the right moment because we're not even at MVP, right? Ooh, yeah, so Xenogerm, that might be the name I give it. It'll just be like giff.cmgriffing.com or something. And then, bam, we got this GIF that was generated from all of that. Now, it's a little pixelated, but that's because I am zoomed in for stream. If we go back to the 100%, that is actually what you would share to social media. Pretty cool, right? And the reason we see all of the ones I've done is basically because I'm still in the intermediate, like, proving out the idea phase, and I didn't want to have to, like, save the file to disk and then open that file and then see if it animated right. I just figured I would append it to the DOM and look at what we got. So, socially shareable diffs that animate between the start and end state. That is my goal, and we are really, really close. We did all of this, like, configurable shadow and background color and some of the other stuff, like the width and all that. Right? That is going to be something that, you know, we're not done yet, but we did most of that today. Right? When we started today, none of this GIF would render with the colors we set, with the extra padding, with the shadow, with any of that stuff. We got all of that done today with pretty minimal effort, actually. And we did most of it by just hacking it out and then hoping it worked after we clicked save. And most of it actually worked, which is why I'm celebrating with my 4th whiskey of the day. So yeah, now we're considering how we actually deploy this thing out, and we're running into issues with our deploy process. You might wonder why I'm using Netlify. I would not be using Netlify if it weren't part of a hackathon. The hackathon is actually a Solid.js and Netlify-based hackathon, which means we need to be using Solid Start and Netlify for the application we're building. And yeah, the application is going to be for best Solid Start app. It'd be really cool if I won that 5K. Be a whole lot cooler if we did. But even if I don't, it was fun to make. And I've wanted to make this for months since Time Enjoyed announced that they wanted to do a code jam. That code jam is indefinitely delayed. But this hackathon is actually ongoing, so I don't know, might as well build for it. This is something I just wanted to exist in the world, so I'm building it. So yeah, after this is popular, you can say, yeah, you watch the guy who made it, write it. Yeah, totally. I feel like that would be pretty dang cool. And yeah, if you're not aware, I also, right, like this thing called Shiki Magic Move, the thing that does the animation stuff, right, breaks it into DOM elements and animates those DOM elements. I didn't write Shiki Magic Move, but I did write the solid renderer. Up until like a week ago, they only had Vue, React, and Svelte. I made the solid renderer for it, and Ant Fu, like superstar of the dev world, merged it in like the day I proposed the PR. So yeah, if you ever want to contribute to an Ant Fu project, he might not merge it in that day, but he will actually look at it that day, and he will respond and comment that day. He is very, very, very active. So I don't know if you guys have ever proposed a PR to some open source repo and it just sat there for months. You're not going to have that problem with Ant Fu. His projects are so well maintained. He's the man. He is on top of it. I don't know if you've ever proposed a PR for one of my side projects. Yeah, it sat there for months before I said, oh, huh. Yeah, I probably should have looked at this sooner. That's a flaw of mine. I am envious of Ant Fu being able to prioritize people's contributions to his open source in such a way, because he maintains a lot of open source. Ant Fu's huge. Like, huge. He has a lot of projects. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really like, this is a word I love to use, but I still wonder if I'm using it right. I am chuffed that he merged in my solid renderer before I even thought it was ready. I didn't even have like the documentation like README updated before he just merged it. Well, shit. Now I guess I gotta do the README. So I did the README the next day, and then bam, yeah. And I want to point out, I am not an expert with Solid. Most of my knowledge of how to use Solid actually comes from building out this project just now. I think that is actually something that you should take away from this. If you want to learn Solid and you already know React, you're pretty much good to go with a couple caveats. And some of those caveats will bite you. Once you get it, well, then you get it and you'll never make that mistake again. But real quick, I do have to use the restroom. Thank you again for that raid, Acorn. Like, really appreciate it. The thing we're going to come back to is debugging why this is failing. And it's probably actually kind of simple. Am I peaking? I might be peaking. It's not peaking on my OBS, but it is probably hitting my compressor. And I'm yelling, so I should probably just stop yelling, right? That'd be way better. So I should just talk at a normal volume. I think technically my voice is peaking. I think you're actually experiencing a physical peak of my voice, more so than just the microphone peaking. I think I was peaking. Yes, I'm a little excited talking about my shit getting merged into an open source repo managed by AntFu. I'm a bit of a fan. My vocal cords were peaking. Exactly. So yeah, let me go use the restroom. I'll be right back. And we'll figure out why this build is failing, because I want to get this deployed out. We've got only like a little bit left to do for the MVP of this project. And yeah, let me go pee and I'll be right back. See you in a sec. Ooh, that Disney Plus theme hits really well.
Give him an enema.
Alrighty, so yeah, let's do our thing. Yeah, thank you. I really had to go. So let's consider what is failing. Could not find task example with Tailwind CSS. What? All right, so this is actually lithium. So turbo run build filter packages. So what do we think is going wrong with our Netlify build? And again, I wouldn't be using Netlify if it weren't a core part of the hackathon. It's also why all of the stuff I'm doing is client side, because I don't want to pay for that. Oh, I like their domain name for explaining errors. Netlit FYI. That's pretty solid. All right, so here's the thing. I did not thaw any chicken. So I can't do chicken tacos tonight. Yeah, we're drinking some whiskey right now. We are celebrating getting what we have, like, really far over the line so far. Like, it's pretty good right now. Let me double check what my work schedule is tomorrow. Oh my god, I'm completely open tomorrow? Okay. How do I keep my body healthy working in tech? Does not compute. No, keep a bunch of weights at home. On days that I remember, I've got these 15-pound kettlebells, and I try and use them as much as I can, right? I've also got a 35-pound kettlebell. I've got some, what are they? I think they're like 12-pound other weights that I use for like lighter stuff. They might even be lighter than that. They might be 10. Do squats, do other things, right? I got a pull-up bar. Like, I do the home workout thing, but also I'm not as fit as I should be, so I'm probably not the best person to ask. I do live right next to the Burt Gilman Trail, so I can get like a good walk going. Here's another big thing. Maintain good posture. There was just a thing published today. I forget where I read it. Maybe it was Hacker News. Maybe it was Reddit. But basically, standing desks will not save you. Standing for a long time actually leads to like deep vein thrombosis because standing is not something you should be doing anyway, right? Like you should be using the standing desk to stand up and sit down on a regular basis. Standing for long periods of time is actually just as bad for you. Right? In different ways, but just as bad for you. There are people that think, oh, well, no, I stand 6 hours a day at my standing desk. Yeah, you guys might have like blood clot issues in your legs at some point. People who sit for way too much may have the same problem. The key is not being static. Yeah, if you're not maintaining good posture while you're standing, it's just as bad as not maintaining good posture while you're sitting. I think it was Hacker News then, wasn't it? Yeah, standing desks may be bad for your health. Yeah, totally. You nailed it. Yeah, good call, 5-shot. For sure. Like, the problem is being static, right? Be dynamic. Sounds cooler anyway, right? I am on a path to weight loss. Like, I am losing weight. I am feeling more fit. When I overdo the whiskey, I feel it. So, like, yeah, I feel healthier when I cut down on the whiskey. That's probably a good idea, too. So, you know what the best case scenario is? Yeah, cut down on the whiskey. I don't know how much whiskey you drink, 5-shot, but maybe drink less. And I know that's rich coming from me. I'm only human. Do as I say, not as I do. All right, let's switch to the tea. Hey, what's up, Jay Larky? Haven't seen you for a bit. How you doing, man? Yeah, I'm doing some solid stuff. Here are the gifts that we've generated. Is mustache required for streaming? No, definitely not. I'm doing it right now because I didn't get a chance to do it last year. And I try to give it a chance like once a year during like November-ish, but I got to give it like a good like month or two head start. Facial hair is not a thing that my family does. Like, at all very well. Yeah, I got a major head start on Movember. Like 3 months easily. It's something that I couldn't do at all when I was younger. As I'm hitting about 40, I am 40 now actually. It's nice to give it a chance to like see what happens. But yeah, I'll be shaving it off at some point in December for sure. Yeah, surely. Like, again, like genetics play like a bigger part. For me, yeah, I'll never be able to grow anything on my cheeks. I don't shave my cheeks. I hope you know that, right? I could let this grow out, and this grow out, and get it really long, and I'd still never have to shave the cheeks. I got the finest peach fuzz, you know? I could probably make a lot of money by shaving that peach fuzz and collecting it and making like a down pillow and selling that for like $100,000 because it would be like the finest pillow you've ever found. Like way better than Goose Down. It'd be CM Griffing down. Right? We could have a CM griffing down pillow from just the peach fuzz on my cheek. It would take maybe like 30 years to produce. So I'd have to sell it for at least 100K. We'll hold an auction. No big deal. Yeah, no, Jay Larky, you don't need to grow facial hair for streaming at all. Definitely not. Don't worry about it. Ooh, right. So, Bedro, that's the thing, right? People who can't grow facial hair are envious of people who can, and people who grow way too much facial hair are envious of people that don't have to worry about it. So, yeah, grass is always greener, for sure. So you think you saw this thing on Twitter? You think you found a bug there somewhere? If you find it again, you'll DM me. So what do you mean by this thing on Twitter? I haven't released Lithium yet. Do you mean Shiki Magic Move? Are you saying you found a bug in the solid version of Shiki Magic Move? Because, yeah, Shiki Magic Move, View React and Svelte existed. I made the solid version of it, and AntFoo merged it in before like we could really deal with it. Maybe the thing you're talking about is the fact that if we turn off line numbers, it doesn't do anything, and you have to like toggle before the line numbers disappear. Because that is a bug, and I'm not sure how to fix that. If you know how to fix that, because I consider you are probably more of an expert with solid than I am. I basically know nothing about solid. However, the issue we're dealing with is that this is really a contention between the view renderer and the solid renderer, because there's like, it gets really crazy about how this like solid rendering is happening within what is actually a view application. So I think it's actually like a mismatch between reactivity layers. If you have a good fix, AntFoo is really like open to fixing it. I will point out though that inside of a solid application, it works fine. We don't have this issue. So there is that, right? This is really like the demo issue with the solid stuff is related purely to being solid within Vue. Yeah, so I believe it is this checkbox, right? That should change something, but it doesn't. If we click it, we're good to go. If you find my PR, you'll see that I even like shouted that out in the PR. He merged it before we could even fix it. So yeah, Jay Larky, if you have an idea to fix it, like, yeah, it's open source. AntFoo would merge that like the day that you make the fix, because he is really on top of it. Maybe it could be something related to what I'm doing. I don't know. It might be my mistake with solid. I just don't know. I just don't know. But as a fan of AntFoo, the fact that he merged my code without even like being a jerk about it, like, and when I say jerk, I mean actually like being overly correct about it. Yeah, dude, like you can get a change merged into an AntFoo repo pretty easily because he looks at that stuff every day. Like he is like really quick on it. Now, there was a PR I proposed that he didn't want to merge, and yeah, I just said, nah, you're good. You don't got to do it. I'll maintain my own internal fork. No big deal. And yeah, my internal fork is what's actually like generating this because I need to get access to the things that we are interpolating between. How do you feel about the idea for the project, though, Jay Larkey? Like, have you ever wanted to share a diff between two snippets of code and found that entire ecosystem lacking? Yeah, no worries. Yeah, let me know. For the most part, I just wanted this entire idea to exist. The Solid.js Hackathon was a good excuse to try and make it and possibly make some money off it. And Jay Larkey, I would appreciate your feedback at some point about it. Ooh, so Bedro, I would say for YouTube stuff, no, you can just record the DOM animating using Shiki Magic Move. Like, you don't need to use what I'm using. You can just use Shiki Magic Move. And then just animate that and record it, and you're done. This is purely for, like, social sharing on Twitter, Blue Sky, Mastodon, whatever. Right? The thing I'm making has a very limited scope for the purpose of social sharing. Oh, you got plenty of time, dude. Dude, you have so much time. 27 days? Oh my god. Yeah, like, dude, yeah, you have so much time. Hold on, let me do one thing here. Yeah, Dev Agrawal totally won. He did it for the challenge. The challenges are actually like done on an ongoing basis, and he won it for the primitive. This right here. So yeah, that $750, that was his. Mine, I'm actually going for the app. I'm also going to propose, like, you know, my change to Shiki Magic Move as part of, like, the ecosystem utility. I don't know if it counts. I don't think it'll work. But Dave DiBiase or Dave DeBase or whatever his name is recommended I still submit it anyway. So, like, why not? But I needed the solid version of Shiki Magic Move to make my app anyway. So I just decided to do it. Like, yeah, we'll see. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to order some DoorDash. I want some Indian food, man. Doing a better version of Solid Element? Ooh. Ooh, that sounds way better. Yeah, do that. Yeah, I know my Shiki magic move won't actually do it. Like, yeah, I won't win that for Shiki magic move. That's fine. I just felt like making it, and I'm still stoked on it. I'm hoping Dax will recognize me, like, see me, senpai. He didn't acknowledge me when I, like, said so in Prime stream. So, yeah. Dax is not impressed. Oh, you got this, dude. Dude, you totally got it, Jay Larky. All right. Boom. Food ordered. And hold on. You still need to. Yeah, people don't care about web components. Honestly, I think they are massively important. Let me put it this way. Theo is wrong all the time. And he's willing to be wrong. He just has to make emphatic statements for content's sake. He is so wrong about Wasm. Like, massively wrong about Wasm. We will see a video from him eventually about, like, the title being, I was wrong about Wasm. You know? No matter what, he has to make statements emphatically to sell content. Whether those statements are right or wrong, he could always just issue an apology or follow-up video, which is also content that gets eyeballs. And he will emphatically say sorry. That is the content creator's life. All it takes is someone doing web components so right that he has to acknowledge it. That's all there is to it. That is content creation in general. Content creation does not value nuanced opinions. Future-proofing your opinions does not matter. He would probably be the first person to agree with that. All right, so I got Indian food on the way. Biotechnic. Sure, that's pretty on brand for you, so there you go. All right, let's consider how this build process needs to run. So turbo run build playgrounds / app. We see lithium app. Sure. I guess here's the thing. Does it run from the top level? ChatGPT likes Wasm. Ooh, there you go. Okay, so here's the thing. Locally, all these things build just fine. Well, shit. No, so I get it, Jay Larkey. They are somewhat invested in there not being a common ground. I wouldn't consider framework authors to be the people to listen to for this. Personally. I would consider component library authors to be the people to listen to. Have we heard any of them actually voice their concerns about it? I personally think Ryan, Evan, and Rich have no incentive to make web components work. What do they gain? What are they incentivized to gain? Nothing. I'm not going to say that web components don't have their warts, but when all three of those guys are in their own special little sandbox, yeah, they don't want to mix and match sand from the sandboxes. They have their own concerns for their own ecosystem. So I still think there's a major bias to their opinions on those things. So, Bedro, Jay Larkey is over here on Twitter saying things about web components and how these frameworks were built for them. I still push back. Like, I don't know, man. They're just waiting for someone else to prove out the idea. Them being disappointed is a thing, but what have they put into it? Sure, they have full support, but have they actually released any of their main stuff for those things? I don't think so. And right, like, when we look at Svelte, is Svelte even in the list? Yeah, Svelte doesn't even make this list, so I wouldn't listen to what Rich has to say. Oh, no, he is. Never mind. No, you're right. You're right. My bad. I just missed it. There's a big difference, though, between them consuming it versus them actually producing it. Now, they are simply letting these things be consumed. They have not put major effort into the production of these things. How many of these tools actually have an export for web components? That would be my major concern. Does Vue have a really good export? Not that I know of. I think it's a third-party thing. Does Svelte have a really good export? I believe it's still a third-party thing. The only one that has a first-party export process is Angular, isn't it? Solid is the worst. Sure. Yeah, Solid Element needs a lot of work. I think my main point there, Jay Larkey, is they focus so much on the consumption, but not the export. And I believe the export process is still left up to a third party. In my opinion, the best use case for exporting is still Angular. And the fact that Angular isn't some blessed, like, framework within the zeitgeist of web developers is a problem. Right? When we go look at the Svelte page, Svelte components can also be compiled to custom elements, sure. Using custom element true. So they do have good support for it, but this is not the answer. This is where every framework simply makes it someone else's problem. This is the framework-based someone else's problem field. This is the greatest camouflage in the universe. The moment this becomes someone else's problem, out of sight, out of mind. This is not the answer. At all. Because it puts it off onto the bundler for someone else to deal with. Right? This is like the textbook definition of making it someone else's problem. Angular does it the same way, actually. So Svelte and Angular are actually equal in this regard. No, Angular does it the same way. That doesn't mean it's the right way. It just means this was like the least amount of effort they could all do to say they support web components. This isn't the answer, though. Making someone else deal with the import of a svelte component is fucking wrong. It needs to be an export from their framework. And none of them are doing them that way, right? What is actually the import process from svelte to lit? They may have tried. I just don't think there was a concerted effort for it. This just isn't it. I'm sorry, like, nah, this is the worst case scenario. There's nothing tree shaken about this. There's nothing that a consumer would be able to do. How does your page tree shake the components it's actually using? You export it to a lit component instead, but they all don't want to support lit. No, so lit and basically stencil actually solves like the tree shaking problem. So I would say lit is also the problem. Stencil solves the tree shaking better than anything else. So instead, export it to a stencil component rather than a lit component. This whole custom elements.define should be part of your import process. Right? You import a custom element from one of these frameworks, and this should happen for you implicitly. This should not be a step left up to the consumer. This should be a build step. I would say look at how stencil, right? Stencil actually tries to solve the import step better than any of these things. As far as I know, lit doesn't even solve like the lazy loading, like tree shakeable version of web components. Stencil, I think, is the only one that does. But stencil being something that is owned by a third party rather than being a standard is part of the problem. Now, hopefully, Ionic being bought and the company that bought Ionic giving up and not caring about this stuff maybe makes it to where this can become a community problem instead. I'm trying to like remember where I found the whole like tree shaking part of things. So what I'm getting at, Jay Larkey, is that stencil needs to not be a proprietary thing, and stencil actually needs to be worked into the standard. Yeah, and the WC interface sucks. This is infinitely better than the standard web component interface. Yeah. What I'm getting at is the web component standard is still fucked. There needs to be way more work done at the W3C level or TC39 or whatever to where this becomes the standard. So yeah, I mean, lit versus stencil is fine. They can take the learnings and tree shaking of stencil and bring that into lit. I think there's something missed in that regard. Again, this is wishful thinking. Like, I'm pointing out what they're missing, but am I making it better? No. Because I don't care enough. I'm an app developer. I'm not a library dev. It's not a problem I care to solve if the smartest people in the world don't care to solve it either. This is something that the framework authors need to band together for, and we basically need a JavaScript version of the PHP framework interop group. right? We basically need a web version, like a JS framework JavaScript version of the PHP framework interop group. Make it exist outside of the standards body that approves the baseline level of BS. We need a PHP version, or a JavaScript version of PHP Fig. If solid element doesn't solve the tree shaking problem, it still isn't it either. The problem with solid element is not as many people use solid. We need React to actually buy in. Vue, Svelte, and Solid agreeing on something doesn't matter if React maintains the majority of the ecosystem. And not maintains, but owns. React lagging on web component stuff is actually the biggest problem. And we need a framework interop group to solve that problem. Are you familiar with PHP and like the framework interop group? What PSRs are and all that stuff? PHP standardized on like the HTTP client interface ages ago. Rather than making it be a browser concern and like a W3C concern, frameworks could actually agree upon a standard interface without waiting on the W3C. Again, that's a step that the user shouldn't need to do. Importing that should just be a side effect. Right? Maybe what we need is some way to denote side effects from an import in a clean way. And then just importing that thing should do the register and should also help you tree shake the components you use versus don't use. The problem is tree shaking. So I get that Lit is a framework. It's not technically W3C, sure. Lit is basically just Google. Right, yeah. But the framework interop group could actually work on the standardized web component to whatever you're consuming it in kind of framework. Again, Jay Larkey, I get it. I think we're both saying the same thing at this point. There needs to be a fix around the import and consuming process in a way that is transparent to the user. Until we have that, yeah, web components are dead in the water. You know what that requires? All of the framework authors working together, including React. Doesn't help if Vue, Svelte, and Solid all agree on something if React isn't going to actually do something about it. And React traditionally has been the slowest to deal with web components. We didn't get full-on 16 of 16 web component support in React until version 18, when a bunch of these had it years before. So we can blame React. We can blame Facebook for not caring. Facebook wanted to ship server components before they wanted to deal with the web component problem. Why? Because once the web component problem is solved, well, yeah, there's less of a need to stay within the React ecosystem. So I think there's definitely a bit of trying to vendor lock people into React. I could be wrong, but this is my very limited understanding of all these things. That's fine, Jay Larkey, right? As good as Solid Element is, Solid makes up such a small percentage of the ecosystem that it just doesn't matter, right? That's why Solid needs to have a hackathon for people to build on all of these like UI component libraries for Solid, because they don't exist because there's no one who cares enough to make it open source. There's no one who cares enough to build it for everyone else. Solid, doing it best, doesn't matter if it maintains 5% of the ecosystem. I don't even think it's that. I think it's way less than 5%. Nah, we need a JS framework interop group. That's all there is to it. We need them all to agree upon common interfaces to where things become plug and play. Until we have that, yeah, it's the Wild West. PHP solved this over 10 years ago. Right? With the idea of PSRs and all sorts of stuff. Everyone likes to think that JavaScript is some, like, every framework in JavaScript is its own special, unique snowflake. No. PHP had the same exact problem. Way back in the day. The framework interop group recognized these diverging ecosystems and found a way to work together. JavaScript framework authors don't give a shit. That's the biggest problem with JavaScript right now. I don't know if Falcon is part of the framework interop group there, Keith. I'm not talking about Falcon. I'm talking about Laravel, Drupal, Symfony. People from all these giant frameworks agreed upon these things so that they could all get along and understand each other. Right? It comes down to even like formatting standards, a logger interface, auto-loading. That's a PHP specific thing, sure. But honestly, for web components, auto-loading becomes actually a thing. Now, it's easier for PHP because it's all server-side, so you don't worry about bundle size. But we need all of the framework authors to get on the same page. And it just seems like they have no interest in doing so. Right? They're all busy competing with each other that rather than recognizing that the rising tide lifts all boats. I mean, Jay Larkey, that should be a bundle time problem, right? Bundle time is waterfalls anyway, so who cares? Right? Generating the bundle is waterfalls. Right? Dependencies of dependencies of dependencies, that's already a waterfall. Who cares? You're maybe confusing like the no bundle movement with this. I think the no bundle movement is dead in the water. I think it's bullshit. I don't think it'll ever work. No, Jay Larkey, you're just missing it. It's a build time concern. If PHP can solve it at the server level can be abstracted to the bundle level. So if they just solve it at the bundle time level, then we're good to go. Who cares what DHH thinks? He has terrible opinions on a whole bunch of stuff. The only thing I've agreed with him on is the WordPress stuff. And some of his, like, do you need to optimize it? No, that's a problem to solve later. Yeah, Jay Larkey, browsers don't need the bundler problem. All we need is bundlers to agree and framework authors to agree, and have those people agree together, and browsers don't have to give a shit because we just ship it to the browser. And what up, Trappistine? Where am I from? I live in Washington State there, Keeve. And yeah, the build issue we were dealing with, we can leave that for tomorrow. It's fine. We'll look at it. I don't think we solved anything, though, with our next try of the deploy. Yeah, we're doing well. They see web component as overhead. I see web component as an interop layer. Better integration between React and Solid is then local to just React and Solid. So then the effort they put in together doesn't benefit Svelte or Angular or whatever. Web components as the interop layer solves that problem. In the same way that WASM is the interop layer between languages. We don't need Rust and JavaScript to agree upon some common whatever. We just need Rust and JavaScript to agree on WASM. Web components are basically the WASM of frameworks. That is definitely part of it there, Pedro. Yes, there are less big companies behind the frameworks that made the PHP interop group happen, right? The framework interop group in PHP was actually just regular people trying to work together. But hold on, I need to go raid someone because my food's on the way. We're going to go raid Travis Vroman. This is a great conversation, everyone. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, my food's like, man, really close. So I don't mean to cut it short, but I have to because I want to eat some Indian food. I would love to keep chatting about this, Jay Larkey. I'll be live tomorrow. You want to continue this conversation? You can even hop on stream if you want. Up to you. But I got to go. I don't want to keep the DoorDash driver waiting. Told him I'd tip him. So I'll see you guys in a bit. I'm going to stop the Twitter, YouTube, and Algora. Thank you guys for chilling.